If everybody could stand up. Okay.
A report posted on the Ohio Northern University website in 2007 suggested that it only takes 6 seconds for an interviewer to decide if you're a worthy candidate for the job for which you're interviewing. I think if we all knew that, we'd pay a little more attention to how we get ready for our interviews. In today's job market, it's more crucial now than ever to be prepared for all components of the interview. Therefore, I'm going to go over how to dress for success, the aspects of the interview itself, and describe techniques that will give you an edge. At the end, I'll leave some time for some questions and answers. So let's move on to the dress code. We live in a society today where what used to be the standard is now considered unorthodox for dressing. So, even so, in the business environment, you really have to be as conservative as possible. So, for both men and women, you have to consider wearing dark-colored suits. This could be black, navy, or dark browns. Most people stick to black just to be safe. Men should pair it with a light-colored shirt, white, light blue, or silver, and a coordinating tie. They also have to wear closed-toed shoes at all times, just because that is also the most professional. Women, on the other hand, have the option of wearing either a skirt suit or a pantsuit. In this case, this is a skirt suit, and it can be paired with a shell like this, or it can have a button down. The jackets are supposed to be long sleeve for both men and women, and usually have 2 buttons. And if women choose to wear a skirt suit, hose must be worn with it as well. Also, women are required to wear closed-toed shoes. It's just better to err on the side of conservatism and not risk looking too pedestrian. So it's also good to bring a black portfolio with you if you need to carry along with you extra resumes or a pen and paper if your interviewer happens to ask for one. It's good to keep it to dark colors as well, just to keep looking more professional. So now that we've covered the dress code, let's move on to the interview itself. Interviews can be a major source of stress and anxiety, but hopefully these helpful hints will get you through the interview. First of all, a firm handshake is crucial to how a person is going to perceive you. A study published on May 6, 2008 from a business professor at the University of Iowa evaluated the effect of a firm handshake. What he did was he divided the subjects into 2 rooms, and they shook hands with professional handshakers at one point during the interviewing process, and then interviewed with interviewers that were not communicating with the handshakers. The handshakers evaluated the firmness of the grasp, and then the interviewers evaluated the effectiveness of the candidate. At the end, the 2 groups got together and evaluated the candidates together. What turned out was that the candidates who interviewed or who scored better on the interview or were considered to be the most desirable for hire also had the firmer handshakes. So it's concrete proof that a firm handshake really does get you in the door. Next, after the handshake, comes the actual questions. A report published on CNN.com on December 9, 2005 listed the 6 most common questions. These included, tell me about yourself, what are your weaknesses, what do you want to do with this company? So those are the most common, so it's good to have those answers prepared just so you don't stumble and trip yourself up. Finally, there's a new method of interviewing called behavioral interviewing. It focuses more on what you would do in a situation versus, or what you have done in a situation versus what you think you might do in a situation. The Career Services website for Virginia Tech defined behavioral interviewing as follows in August 2006. Behavioral interviewing is defined as the method of interviewing designed to assist employers in making predictions about the candidate's success based on actual past behavior instead of based on responses to hypothetical questions. So even knowing how to interview won't get you the job. You still have to know how to go back on your past experiences to make an employer think that you would be a hireable candidate. So now that we've gone over the interviewing, let's go over some techniques that can give you an edge, because just knowing how to get through the interview won't always get you the job. You need to research the company before you go into the interview, because the interviewer will frequently ask you questions at the end saying, what do you know about the company or what do you want us to do for you. So it's good to know that you have prepared something and have cohesive questions to ask your interviewer. Also be prepared for the trap questions. This can be, instead of saying what are your strengths, they can ask you if your weaknesses, how have your weaknesses impeded you. You need to always spin it towards the positive and just make sure that you don't ever cast yourself in a negative light. Finally, ask questions yourself. You need to ask questions to show that you're interested in the job that you're interviewing for and not just look like you're there just to see if they want to hire you. You have to show interest yourself. And then you can write a thank you. That's probably the best thing that you can do after you leave an interview because it shows the interviewer that we're really grateful for the opportunity and not just going through the motions. Always write it on paper. Don't email because emailing can be a little too it's too mainstream. So getting something in the snail mail is always appreciated. So knowing all these will definitely set you apart. With unemployment rates up and the economy is recessing, it's important to know more than ever how to get through the interview. I've told you how to dress for success, master the interview itself, and even given you a few techniques to have in your little arsenal. So I had 4 interviews myself recently, which resulted in 4 offers. So this knowledge was imparted to me, so I hope it can be helpful to you. So now I'll leave time for any questions and answers I can provide. Yes.
What if an interviewer asks what you perceive to be an illegal question?
You don't ever have to answer anything that you feel is illegal. Anything illegal could be asking you about your race, your religion, your ethnicity, your sexual orientation, anything like that. You don't have to answer because you're protected under Title VII to not have to answer it. So you can just decline the question and ask for the next one because legally they're not allowed to. It may make it uncomfortable, but it's illegal. So you don't have to feel obliged to answer. Is there another question?
Is there a wrong way to give a handshake?
Yeah, there's a wrong way to give a handshake. If you give it with your palm down, you're trying to be assertive dominant, or it shows that you're trying to be assertive dominant. And if you give your hand palm up, it looks like you're being submissive. Also, if you only offer your fingers, it shows that it's a sign of weakness. And so you just extend it out and then grasp the hand firmly and shake it twice while you introduce yourself. Never wait for them to ask your name. Always introduce yourself while you're shaking the hand. And do it strongly, about 2 pumps, and then that's it. So, are there any more questions? Well, thank you for listening to my speech today. I appreciate it. Here's the visual aids. It's the women's skirt suit. Here's the skirt. And closed-toed shoes down there. Oops. Here's the men's suit. And here's the business portfolio with resumes, pen and paper.